Hey everybody, and welcome back to Hollow Knight! Last time, we defeated the source of the infection, the sun, otherwise known as the Radiance, her scientific name. And then we finished the game. Basically, yeah, that's what happened. Oh yeah, we also did Path of Pain as well. This time is going to be a bonus episode where I go over a few more fun facts about the base game, and then we talk about an alternate mode at quite a bit of length, not quite a bunch of length. I forgot I overcharmed myself for this guy. Let's hope it goes well. To start off, I'm going to be refighting the Hollow Knight, and then I'll also be refighting him later because I have to show off more stuff with the Radiance. But in the meantime, I would like to show what happens if we get to phase 4 and then we don't dream nail his head when Hornet splits it open. I forgot I should probably be using Soul. That's so much better, oh my god. Listen, man, I just like to enjoy the fight slowly and certainly. I love this boss. Not as much as a certain later fight we actually haven't seen yet in this series, and won't be seeing for a long time. More on that at the end of the video. I had a feeling you would be about to do it. So, at this point, ordinarily, you're supposed to dream nail that spot on the Hollow Knight's head. But if you either wait long enough or continue hitting the Hollow Knight with your standard nail, Hornet will eventually be knocked aside and the fight will continue into its phase 4. Should you defeat the Hollow Knight again after this, you will get kind of the same ending as before without beating the Radiance, but there will be one major difference. Also, watch carefully during the death animation. When the Hollow Knight disappears, you see a silhouette of the Radiance in a little glimpse there. That is such a cool detail. So it's the same as the standard Hollow Knight ending, as it's known as, except Hornet is trapped inside with you, and as you saw on the door there, she seemingly becomes a dreamer. And since she's stuck inside the temple, that means that, nobody's gonna be able to open that door. So if our vessel weakens and spreads the infection once more, no one's gonna be able to jump in and stop it this time. I don't know if anyone would be able to jump in and stop it the other time, though, when there wasn't a dreamer. Maybe the door just opens for any old person at that point. I don't really know how the dreamer seals work, but I know I'm not supposed to think about it too hard, because it's just kept vague. That ending is known as Sealed Siblings, and it's one of your main 3 options. And that is every single ending in the base game. Not exactly every ending in the game just yet, but again, more on that another time in the future. Excuse me while I wait through this credit sequence because you can't skip this for some reason. I almost thought that guy's last name was Ron Thesis. 3434. If only I had waited an extra 13 seconds. Actually, I kind of want to, like, go in and play for 13 seconds now. No, that's pointless. Ah yes, before I go back in and show some other stuff, for defeating the Radiance, you unlock this menu style, which is known as the Void menu style. It plays the Abyss ambience in the background the whole time. Pretty cool. Might be one of my personal favorites, behind Infected and the default one, of course. Also, I don't know if I've ever been over this in this series. I probably have, but it's been a while since I've done it, so forgive me if I've forgotten, but I really like placing the cursor down here. It really adds to the menu's little decoration, to the logo's decoration, flare going on at the bottom there. I don't know why, I just always liked doing that. Alright, past me has given current me something to test. I've been noticing an inconsistency between how much damage I take while overcharmed. I'm just gonna take out all my lifeblood health to keep this more or less consistent in case lifeblood health follows special rules, but I've been always wondering, Sometimes when I fall into hazards, I take 2 damage, as you would expect from being overcharmed. But then there's other times where I only take 1, and those other times always seem to come when I've been knocked into a hazard by an enemy. So, I'm gonna perform a test or 2. Of course it's one of you. Okay, here's me falling into it like normal. Then, here's an enemy knocking me in. 2, 1. Okay, so there's probably... Hang on, hit me again. Okay, so I only took 1 damage that time. That's probably a little forgiveness programmed in. If you get knocked into a pit of spikes by an enemy, they don't want you to take 4 damage from being overcharged necessarily, so they have the hit from the hazard only deal 1. That's probably intended. So, that's pretty cool. I like that little functionality. My bad, I didn't watch where I was going. By the way, I was just reading over the damage numbers I have written down in my notes for this series, and I actually noticed a pattern with the Cyclone Slash's damage output. So, that's not the Cyclone Slash, 1 second. This Nail Art's damage output. So, let me tell you some specifics about how much damage it does, in case you're curious. Assuming you know the original damage numbers of all the nails, the per hit damage everywhere each individual hit of the Cyclone Slash deals is Nail's current base damage plus the Nail's upgrade level. So if with the first nail, the old nail, that's Nail upgrade level 1, and its base damage is 5. So the Cyclone Slash does 6 damage per hit. From there, the Cyclone Slash on its own will hit 3 times, and if you spam the button a few more times, I think it'll hit something like 6 times. So you can do the math from there. In addition, the Dash Slash. Dash slash Great Slash, that's confusing. Either of those 2 Nail Art's damage output is 10x plus 2, where x is the upgrade level of your nail. So it deals 12 damage at base nail, 22 damage at sharpened nail, 32 damage at channeled nail, so on, until 52 with the pure nail. 52 damage, that's what I've got right now. Also, I don't know if I've mentioned in the series, I probably have, but Fury of the Fallen is the only charm that affects the damage of Nail Arts. Strength will do nothing. I don't believe I ever came back and talked to the White Lady again after obtaining the Void Heart. Let's see if she has anything to say. This could end up being disappointing. There we go, okay. I was gonna say.
That pulsing emptiness. Truly it has been transformed by the revelations it found. Does it feel anything? Triumph? Or hate? If it does, I cannot sense it. The fate of our kingdom, our Hallownest, that future belongs to you now.
Void feels nothing. Void simply exists. This area is so beautiful. And it's probably gonna be the last time we see it this playthrough. So, just gonna let you enjoy a little longer. Alright, that's enough. Hey man, you wanna enjoy it for as long as you want? Play the game yourself. Or look up a, White Lady for 10 hours on YouTube. I'm sure a video like that exists. My next topic will bring me back into the White Palace. I'm gonna climb back up to the top and see if there's anything there at all. There probably isn't, but I figure while I'm doing this, I may as well tell you some fun facts about Hollow Knight's Kickstarter, because I actually kind of forgot to go over them as the series progressed. I was meaning to bring them up, and then I never did. Let's see if Long Nail actually helps with platforming. I'm not sure if it does. Anyway, to get right on topic, the first stretch goal in the Hollow Knight Kickstarter that was hit added the White Palace to the game, or it may not have been the first per se, but it's the first one I wrote in my notes, so I'm just gonna say it was the first. The White Palace was only introduced to the game thanks to a Kickstarter stretch goal. Apparently in the description for the Kickstarter, they were going to add 2 new bosses to it, but that clearly didn't happen because the White Palace as we got it doesn't have bosses in it. It's assumed that these 2 bosses were actually, morphed together to form the King's Mold, and they were also nerfed heavily so that they could become a regular enemy instead. I guess they decided the platforming was hard enough, and I'd agree with that. In this case, the platforming is the boss fight. I did already mention the Kickstarter stretch goals included additional quests like the Nailsmith's whole ending, the Stag's being able to find his home, but then there was also a Wii U port that they were going to work on. As you may know, this never happened. The Wii U port got transformed into the Switch port because the game released pretty much right before the launch of the Nintendo Switch, and they thought that was a much better idea than releasing Hollow Knight for only the Wii U. Could you imagine? Somewhere in the multiverse, there is an alternate timeline where Hollow Knight only got a Wii U release and it was nowhere near as popular as a result, because there's a strong theory that the Nintendo Switch release is the main reason why this game got as big as it did. Then, one of the stretch goals would add a second playable character to the game. As you may know, this also isn't in the game because, well, yeah, if there was a second playable character in a side mode, I would have probably told you by now. That second playable character would be Hornet, and she would go on her own adventure in a brand new land. If that sounds familiar, well, that little piece of DLC, it was supposed to be DLC, grew so big that they ended up transforming it into the game's upcoming sequel, Hollow Knight Silksong. It's been something like close to a decade since Silksong got announced, and there's still absolutely zero news on whether or not it actually exists or not. I mean, I'm sure it does exist, but it sure is taking a while to exist. Of course, it's no problem. I mean, Team Cherry can take as long as they want, making the game as great as they can. That said, though, they probably shouldn't take too long so that they don't go out of business, you know? I mean, they nearly went out of business releasing Hollow Knight, the first game, and I don't believe the first game had quite as long as of a development time as Silksong is having right now, so yeah. There are also some stretch goals that were not reached. One of these was a third playable character. No idea who that would have been, but I think I heard somewhere that one of the developers mentioned that they were going to add like a secret Zote mode where you would have a random chance of tripping as you walked around and stuff like that, so maybe he would have been the third playable character? That would have been hilarious to see. Could you imagine that? Like, the ultra hard mode where you play as Zote. I would personally love to play that, but sadly, I don't think that's a thing. Another failed stretch goal was a PS Vita port. Did anyone still play a PS Vita in 2017 when the game was about to release? Because I'm not really sure. Was the PS Vita still big in 2015? I mean, what do I know about those freaking handheld consoles, or about any console other than Nintendo consoles, because I never had anything other than Nintendo consoles. The last failed stretch goal that is interesting to me is one for an expansion called The Abyss, which obviously the stretch goal was never met, so it never happened, but I guess down in the Abyss, you could pass through the void into another dimension? That probably could have been pretty cool. Okay, the king's gone as I thought. Is there any, like, exit pad, anything? No? Okay. I mean, I don't know what I expected, so can I at least leave the palace this way, or do I have to backtrack all that way? Can I? I probably can't. Nope. Okay, I have to backtrack now. I suppose while I'm here, I can show what it's like to die in the White Palace. It's almost the same as a dream world death. It is a fake death, you're not actually killed, you don't lose your geo, you don't have to go get it back, but unlike a standard dream world death, you are not sent out of the White Palace world. You are only sent back to a bench. Back to the final boss I go, to show off a little more stuff involving the Radiance herself. First of all, because I never brought it up, I should probably let you know that once you enter the Radiance's dream world, you are fully healed. The health bar isn't showing right now, but we will be healed as the fight starts. In addition, this is an awesome intro, can I just say? Like, what a freaking entrance! I didn't want to say anything at the time because I wanted to let you see it for yourself, but my god, it's so cool. Anyway, I kinda don't like how you have to fight the Hollow Knight every single time you want to refight the Radiance. Like, this boss is absolutely going to trounce you on your first playthrough. And then every single retry, you have to fight the entire Hollow Knight boss all over again. And because the two bosses fight so differently, you're probably not going to be used to the Radiance by the time you reach her again, and so you'll probably not even get that much better every time. Hollow Knight is usually really good at not making the runbacks to the later parts of bosses feel that tedious, but this is one point where it completely fails, and yeah, if you were kind of frustrated by that design, I am right there with you. I was lucky in that when I fought Radiance for the first time, I was already really good at the game after having played Godmaster, so I beat her in like 5 tries, but obviously if I went to fight her before then, I would not do nearly as well, and I would be a lot more frustrated by that run back. Like I said, this game is usually really good about not punishing you that badly, not making you redo that much crap to get back to the boss fight. It's actually, except a lot of the bosses in Halonest are like that. But still, I mean, like, for the super, super hard fights of the game, you almost never have to redo that much to get back to them. But for this one, you do, and it kind of sucks, and I hate it. This is one point where I think the game really should have had a checkpoint. Send you back to the beginning of the Radiance fight instead of the beginning of the Hollow Knight fight. That's what I prefer. Anyway, in other news, the one thing I want to show with the Radiance is her Dream Nail dialogue, but that's gonna have to wait until Phase 2 because I can't exactly reach her, can I? And I do love staying in between those daggers. It's like such a risk, but if you can manage to do it, it really pays off and adds to your attack total. This boss is really good. I just wish, you know, you didn't have to fight the Hollow Knight every time, but I've already said that. So, now, let's Dream Nail the Radiance. Yep. I will not be forgotten. Dawn will break. The light cannot be consumed. I got killed trying to do it because, my god, is it hard to Dream Nail this lady. Speaking of Dream Nailing, I don't know if I've ever showed Dream Nailing the Hollow Knight. It has no thoughts. Head empty. Which goes to show, all the screaming coming out of it definitely isn't coming from the Hollow Knight. It has absolutely no thoughts about the current situation. God, that little maneuver I had to do there was so much fun. I love this fight. Ancient enemy. And others which I shall show on the screen right now. I decided to give up partway through because it is a pain in the rear to Dream Nail her. This is my 3rd attempt at this, by the way. For some other fun facts regarding Radiance, apparently internally she has 3,000 health, but you only actually deal 1,700 health of damage to her to finish her off. I guess maybe they plan to have a 3rd phase at one point, or they plan to have the fight go on even longer, but then playtesters struggled immensely with the fight, and so they decided to tone it down a bit, or they decided to do the whole Hollow Knight and Radiance back-to-back thing later, which, why? Anyway. The fact of the matter is, she has effectively 1,700 HP despite supposedly having 3,000 HP internally. That was a mistake. I mean, yeah, no one gets hit on purpose. God, the regular healing speed feels so sluggish after you get used to having charms. Then, for one final fun fact, during this final moment, yeah, I assumed they were going to put a 3rd phase, like, here or something, rather than just having a climb up and then a single hit finishing her off. I did feel like this was supposed to have more to it than it does, but anyway. Once you reach the top, you may blast her with soul all you like, but it will not kill her. You have to strike her with the nail to deal the final blow and end the fight. I feel like that's somewhat of a nod to the Legend of Zelda games where, in the case of Ocarina of Time at least, you have to hit Ganon with the Master Sword to finish him off. You can't hit him with any other sword. And by the way, just like the intro, I fucking love this death animation. Watching her blink out into darkness at the end is so satisfying. Okay, with that all out of the way, it's time to get into the real meat of this video. That is... Steel Soul Mode. Don't worry about this. I'll cover this at a much later time. For now though, Steel Soul Mode is exactly as it sounds. You gotta get through the game without dying. With a fairly large asterisk attached. For one thing, it isn't exactly the same game, so I'll be covering the few differences that there are in this video. And for another thing, well, let's just say, not every death counts as a real death, right? Hop, skip, and a jump down the chute. We're in a laundry room, because that was a laundry chute or something. I don't know. Don't listen to my bad jokes. I'm too tired and non-recording mood today to think of anything interesting to say, as you clearly heard there. So the heads-up display will show that silver outline to indicate that you are on Steel Soul mode. Sadly, none of the HUD actually turns silver itself. It's still the same white as usual. I get it. You gotta have it white on very dark gray in order to create a good contrast so the players can see how much health they have at a glance without having to actually watch too carefully, but still, I kinda wished that the actual HUD elements were silver too. I mean, after all, I wanna have Steel Soul up in that soul meter. I wanna have silvery looking soul. I want silvery looking masks of health. I guess I may as well get started right away with what dying looks like on this difficulty. No reason not to. Take me out, Vengefly. Get your vengeance on me once and for all. Look at those extra shockwaves. It's playing the menu theme right now, interesting. So I don't think it's supposed to play music on this game over screen, but it just starts playing whatever was the last music track to play, and in this case, that was the menu theme, so. In attempting the feat, one proves their courage. May your shade at last find rest. Ah! They don't chastise you for not making it to the end in time! That's how you know this game is awesome, and not developed by Reflect Studios. Don't worry, I didn't say anything. Your Steel Soul file, your defeated Steel Soul file then remains on the file select screen, and then you have to delete it yourself. You have to basically disconnect its life support. It's quite sad. Alright, time to do this for real. I like how the first thing you hear in the game is that frickin' lifeblood cocoon up there in the tutorial area. Ah, is that you, Zote? I see you've gotten yourself into trouble once again. I think I'm good. I think you can get yourself free. Good luck, man! Should you choose to leave Zote here in the jaws of the Vengefly King, and then progress until you obtain the Mantis Claw, Zote dies. If you smack his shell like that, you'll get an achievement. If this is done, the Grey Prince Zote boss fight becomes completely inaccessible in your playthrough, including in the Godmaster DLC. More info on that another time. This is... well, I shouldn't say that someone's death being a possibility is pretty cool, but I do like this detail. I love how you can't just leave Zote to die at the beginning, and then you lose access to his entire questline, which... knowing Zote's personality might be for the best, but then again, he adds such a great amount of humor to this game that I would feel sad not rescuing him at the beginning, despite how he treats you. So as you play through this mode, a thought may occur to you. What about rancid eggs? What use do they have anymore? If you remember, their only use is to give them to Confessor Gigi on the far right side of Dirtmouth so that she can summon your shade in case you've lost it somewhere bad. But you can't drop a shade in Steel Soul mode, because if you die, the game's done. So what do they do now? What role does Confessor Gigi have in the game anymore? Well, the developers thought of this, and they have quite the special answer. Let's go to the far right side of Dirtmouth and take a look inside Confessor Gigi's cave. Gigi? Did you get transformed into something? Is that you hidden in there? Yeah, nothing else here. All the candles are replaced by spikes. I don't know how to feel about that. This is Steel Soul Jinn, a new character exclusive to this mode.
Is it here, waking Jinn? Observed, small, dull, no soul, long shadow. It is blank, but brave. Does it bring offering? Jinn has only many small, shiny things. Useless to Jinn, but will trade for a wonderful gift. Would it offer gift so wonderful to Jinn?
Give Jinn a rancid egg? If this is the wonderful gift you're expecting, I sure hope it is.
Gift is a horrible gift. Disgusting. But Jinn knows one who appreciates. Friend of Jinn, eats nasties, loves nasties, shall accept, shall provide. Shinies for tiny it. Good to give shinies. Less burden for Jinn.
So you can now just straight up sell Rancid Eggs to Steel Soul Jinn for a hefty sum of Geo. I believe it's about 380 each, or maybe around there, give or take, maybe influenced by a random number. This is yet another way you can make money, and it's kind of a boost because, you know, this is money that doesn't normally exist in the regular game mode.
Another? Does it offer gift to Jinn? A problem. It did not bring the gift Jinn wants. No trade can occur. None. Will it seek out the gift Jinn wants? The horrible, round, disgusting gift? Will it return? Jinn will be waiting.
I gotta get a couple more of these before we could continue with you any further. Well, actually, we could continue a little further right now. Look at that head turn. It's instant. That's kind of unnerving, but also kind of cute at the same time. I don't know. I don't know what to think of this character.
Does it want to know of Jinn? Jinn, little know, cannot tell of self. Too young, its thought, its mind. Born to provide, to trade. Will help to trade, yes? Bring Jinn gift. Wonderful gift.
Okay, so basically, you were created for the sole purpose of giving me a reason to trade Rancid Eggs on Steel Soul mode. Cool, good to know.
Its body, so soft, fragile, inferior built, not like Jinn. Jinn does not take hurt. Jinn shall last.
Can you lend your armor to me then? I know that. We're bugs, it's a part of your skin.
Does it wish to trade? If trade is desired, step before Jinn and trade can commence.
Well, sadly, I cannot trade to you anymore, but I'll be back. Now, what about the other special Rancid Egg mechanic? Sorry, Tuck, I didn't mean to call you a mechanic. You're a person, you know, the person down here who sold us an infinite number of Rancid Eggs? Well, that's not a good sign. Tuck is dead on Steel Soul mode. No farming unlimited Geo from just buying a million Rancid Eggs from her. You only get one. Help me find... This means basically all secret dialogue interactions with Tuck are not available in Steel Soul mode. One of the only minor changes, really. That is so creepy, having the infection come out of one of her eyes, but not the other. I return with more eggs in possession. Hello? Wake up! I'm very glad that I could just smack you with my nail to wake you up.
It came back. Does it remember Jinn? Will it offer a gift? Trade for useless shinies?
Why are you shaking? Are you afraid of me?
Would it offer gifts so wonderful to Jinn?
Absolutely.
Gift is horrible. Disgusting.
What, did she say disgusting? Wait, was that spelled correctly?
But Jinn knows one who appreciates. Friend of Jinn, eats nasties, love nasties, shinies, not special for Jinn.
Okay, she did not give quite as much this time, so yeah, it's a little random. So this implies that she's friends with Gigi, since we know Gigi enjoys Rancid Eggs. Interesting.
Another? Does it offer gift to Jinn?
Yes, absolutely.
Another horrible, disgusting gift. Jinn will keep gift for a friend of Jinn, and it shall have shinies. That is trade.
But yes, very good. That is what trade is. Think I have one more. Its voice is adorable, I have to say. Now that we've given her 3 Rancid Eggs, or technically 4, but either way, you sell her 3 Rancid Eggs and she will have more to say in this talk to her from the right side situation. I don't know. When talking to her normally, that's how I should have said it.
It likes Jinn's shinies? Jinn has many. Gifts from another, helped by Jinn, hurt by Jinn. Jinn did not want shinies, only clutter, mess, but can trade for gift.
Alright, that's all she says for right now, but there will definitely be more later. I think there's 2 more pieces of dialogue I want to say. If there's any more than that, then I'll probably just share them with you later. Oh no! Guys, I lost my Steel Soul run! Crap! Nope. Remember, dying in a dream world is not a real death. Steel Soul runs will not end if you die to a dream boss, or anywhere within a dream world, which also includes the White Palace and the entirety of the Godmaster DLC. If your death would drop a shade, that's when it'll end your Steel Soul run. Do note, as much as the Radiance battle might look like a dream boss fight, and that it takes place in a dream world, it technically doesn't. Dying to that boss will drop a shade. I actually showed it earlier in this video accidentally. So dying to the Radiance does count as a real death and will end a Steel Soul run. You better hope you don't die then. I have something to report. This corner of the map exists. This was hidden underneath a wall of shadow. I unveiled it as I went by, accidentally. Yeah, there's just a soul refill up here. Every time I play this game, I discover something new. Every single time. Oh my god! Oh my god! I cannot believe how well that went. I was worried about this battle. I was worried I was gonna die to Hornet here. But I didn't take a single... I got so excited I knocked my headset off my head. I didn't take a single hit that whole time. That was incredible. And that so makes up for the super quick anticlimactic battle I had with her in the actual playthrough. Wow. Oh my god, that was pretty amazing. I'm not gonna lie. Now that we have the King's brand, Jinn should have more to say to us.
A king the tiny it becomes. Jinn knows that mark, but cannot bow. Jinn's masters are other, mine's other. Not order. Not order they seek.
There's people out there stronger than the King of Hallownest? I mean, I guess there's always a bigger fish, so why not there be always a bigger bug, right? I mean, the Radiance was a much bigger bug than the frickin' the King of Hallownest was. She will have yet more to say upon receiving the Void Heart, but I've already been playing this for like 3 hours at this point, and I don't exactly feel like doing that, so how about I just look up her dialogue on the wiki instead? So upon unifying the Void within yourself and receiving the Void Heart, Jinn will say this.
This it, a rare it, has not seen many, so vulnerable, but triumphant. Makes Jinn feel a thing. Surprise? Jinn misjudged. The it is not inferior. Perhaps different? Different to Jinn. More complete? Different. Like masters?
Ooh, she compliments you. That's kinda cool. That's all she ever says. Other than that, you just turn in any rancid eggs you find her, and that's basically her only purpose in Steel Soul mode. And to be honest, that is mostly what I have to say about Steel Soul mode. That's every single difference from the normal mode, at least. Yeah, I was trying to think if there was any other change, but okay, there's one I haven't shown yet, and I'll get to showing that right now. Upon completing Steel Soul mode, beating any of the final bosses and getting an ending, the post-credits message for you will be a little different. Congratulations, you played skillfully and proved you have a Steel Soul. Thank you for taking time to explore and conquer the world we built. We'll meet again soon with a new challenge for you. And pretty sure they were talking about Godmaster and not Silksong, sorry. In addition, you will unlock this menu style, the Steel Soul menu style. On top of this, there are 2 achievements you can get for beating Steel Soul mode, one for beating it any percent and the other for getting 100%. Thing about that is it's 100%, and under this game's rules, that is not necessarily doing every single piece of content in the game. As you know, it does not stop at 100%, it could go all the way up to 112% is the maximum. There is no achievement for beating Steel Soul on 112%, so you never have to do that. This means you get to pick and choose what content you want to skip in case there's something that really scares you. For me, that would be Trial of the Fool. I can almost never do that thing first try. And so I actually chose to skip Trial of the Fool when I was going for the achievement, and I got it. So yeah, you only need to get 100% in Steel Soul mode to get all achievements. You don't need to go any higher, so you can choose which content to skip. I kind of like that setup, honestly, for the achievements. Like, you get to decide what you want to do and whatnot. It's yet another way this game is just so open and so replayable. One of the most replayable games I have ever seen myself. And with that, that's everything I wanted to say about Steel Soul mode, which shall conclude this episode. As for Godmaster, let me switch the menu style over real quick. As I talk about Godmaster, I just think it would be very fitting. My original plan for this was to do a 3 to 5 episode mini-series during the Majora's Mask playthrough. But now my Majora's Mask playthrough is like 2 or 3 videos away from being done, and I did want to have the finale of Majora's Mask be the last Let's Play video I made, and it would feel a little weird to me if I finished that series and then continued this one into Godmaster. So my plan has changed a little bit. Now that I'm so deep into Majora's Mask and have only now made this video, my plan has changed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make my adventure through Godmaster a much larger, more highly edited video. I'm going to be making that video in a documentary-ish format as I describe my experience to perfect the DLC, as that is my main goal. I will not be playing through the DLC in Let's Play format in this series. That said, I did already play through the Godmaster content in Let's Play format in my previous Hollow Knight series back in 2022 when I played the game for the first time. So if you'd like to see me do that, you can just go watch that playthrough for the time being. Until I eventually finish the large Godmaster video, whenever that'll be. It'll come out sometime. I can't say when because I know my plans are going to be constantly changing, but I'll definitely try to get that started sooner rather than later. In that case, then, this means that for now, this playthrough is done. I am not planning to make any more Let's Play style videos for this Hollow Knight series. So, I really hope you enjoyed this Hollow Knight series. I hope it was very informative. I hope you learned something new about this incredible game that is always filled with more stuff to learn about. And especially in this video, you may not have known that dying to a Dream Boss in Steel Soul mode doesn't count as a real death, for example. And doesn't end your run, which I think is honestly pretty cool. And because pretty much all the super hard content in the game is inside of a dream world, that means that, for the most part, all the really hard stuff can be done with no real stress behind it, because you can take as many tries as you need, whereas it's everything else in the game that suddenly becomes way more stressful under the pressure of no deaths allowed. Anyway, yeah, I'm rambling now, I'm just yapping. Thank you very much for watching my Hollow Knight playthrough, if you did. Thank you very much for watching both of them, if you did, even. I know there's some people who have, and I deeply thank you. This is such an amazing game, and I would recommend this to everyone playing this. If you're at all a fan of adventure games, especially if you're a fan of Metroidvanias, play this. You owe it to yourself. If you think this game's a little overrated and don't really care, then that's fine. Honestly, I can understand that. There's definitely some things about this game that can be a huge turnoff. The slow early game, the death system, the story not being that engaging at all, because I gotta be honest, it really isn't. If you're not compelled to explore this world, then this game's not gonna do a great job compelling you. Because, like, what reason do you have to explore if the game's not interested in telling you what's going on, right? That's one of the downsides with vague stories, and why I think they're not that, like, not really that great as video game stories, but maybe that's a video for another time. Anyway, I have nothing else to say, so thank you all so much for watching, if you did, and as always, I will see you all in the future.